Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Nick, and in today's video, we are going to create a Shopify app with a Shopify theme extension. So what does this mean? It means that we are going to use Polaris and AppBridge to actually embed our app into the Shopify admin, the Shopify dashboard. And then we are also going to create an extension so that we can add this widget right here. So we'll be able to add this from the customizer. And what it's going to do is it's going to dynamically display the number of orders. So in this case, there's no orders, but if we go and click on some products that have orders, it's going to show how many orders they've had in the last 24 hours. Try to get some social proof on our store and hopefully increase sales as well. So again, stay tuned. This is going to be a great tutorial. Make sure you have the Shopify CLI installed, and you can check the description for the code as well as any other helpful links. Make sure you have the Shopify CLI installed. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to navigate in the terminal to the directory that you would like this app to live in. So for me, I have a folder called app dev. And what I'm going to do is just run Shopify app init. And then I'm going to give this a name, and I'm going to call it popular product orders. You can name it whatever you'd like. And I'm going to use this remix template. And I'm going to do JavaScript. And then we'll wait for this to load real quick. Okay, now we can see that it is completed, and it has some instructions right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go cd into this new directory, and then we're just going to run Shopify app dev. And then we can pick the organization that we're going to do this with, and it wants to know, create this project as a new app. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to name it, same thing, popular products orders. And then we'll wait for this to load. Okay, and then we get to pick which store. So I'm going to pick Nick's Ski Stuff. And then it says, do you want Shopify to automatically update your app's URL in order to create preview experience? I'm going to say yes. Perfect. So now once we see this down here, we're in good shape. We have our server running here, but we can hit D, G, P, or Q for these shortcuts. So what we're going to get in the habit of doing is hitting P here, and then we're going to open up a preview of our store. So now you can see it's opened up this window, and it's saying, it's basically asking permission to install this on the store. So we're going to hit yes. Awesome. And now we have our app successfully running on our store. And we can see here, this is all just the boiler template stuff. In this tutorial, we're not going to touch this page, but we are going to create a page here that we're going to use. And so we're going to start with that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first open this up in VS Code. And now I am going to navigate to this app routes directory. And I'm going to create a file. And I'm going to call it app.products.jsx. Cool. Now I'm going to copy and paste a bunch of this code and then walk through it because it is kind of a lot. And hopefully this will make sense to you. So I'm going to paste this in. And of course, all this code's available in the description. It's going to be a GitHub link where you can copy and paste this as well. But up at the top, so if you're not familiar with React, this is going to be kind of confusing. But what we have is our imports here. So these are the different things we're going to use. We have this use loader data, which is kind of a remix construct. And then we have this Shopify Polaris, which is a Shopify component UI library, which we're going to use for this page right here. And then we have this authenticate, which we use to authenticate any requests to this page. And then we have this loader function. Now, this loader function is what runs immediately. And you can see in this first, when this is first called, what we do is we authenticate our request. And then we create this yesterday variable, which is going to give us the timestamp that we want to query for everything, all the orders after that time. And so we have this response here, which is our GraphQL query. So you can see we have this query here. We're looking for the orders, the first 250. They require you to put in a first or last argument in these queries. And you can see we're looking for every order created after this timestamp from 24 hours ago. And then this is kind of the schema of what we're querying. And then right here, we handle the response from this query. And then this is where we run a little bit of custom JavaScript. So what's happening here? Well, first is we are looping through these orders that we're going to get. And then we are going to organize them in order, sort them from the most orders to the least. And then we are going to here make them go from an object to an array. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, because this resource list Polaris component expects these items to be in an array, and it just is easier to work with in that format. So we put it here where we can see we're going to have access to the ID, the title, and the order count, which is going to be the actual number of orders that that product has had. And then if we look here in the actual UI, we have a couple of components here, but what's really happening is we're displaying a list of these resource items, and it has the title and the order count, because those are the two things that we are going to display. So if I save, and it looks like we have an unexpected error missing. Oh, it looks like this has some TypeScript in there. My mistake. So if we save that. All right, cool. So this looks good, but we don't actually see the option to get to this page. So we can fix that really quickly. We just have to open up this app.jsx under the routes directory. And then I'm just going to change this, and it's going to go, instead of additional, it's going to be products. And I'm going to call it product orders. And let's try that. And if we refresh here, sweet. So we can see now if we click here, oh, looks like we are getting an issue here. Give me one moment to take a look. Okay, so if you look at this error, it's saying the access is denied for the orders field, and that is because I have not set up the permissions for this app to be able to query the admin API. So what does that mean exactly? Well, if we open up this shopify.app.toml file, this is kind of our base configuration file that we use, and we can also see this Cloudflare URL is going to change every time we rerun our app. Not something that we necessarily need to worry about here, but you can see down here we have this scopes part, and I pasted this right here. So we need access to read orders, read products, and write orders. So after saving that and rerunning my terminal, I got this message right here. It says the scopes don't match the scopes in the partner dashboard. And we can see that it is seeing that we want access to these, but we don't have any scopes in the partner dashboard. So we need to run this Shopify app deploy. So let's do that now. And again, just make sure that you add this line right here. And then we're going to release new version. Perfect. And now I think if I go back, here it is. So it's asking us now, do you want to give this app permission to this stuff? We're going to say yes. Perfect. So now it's deployed. Now we can run our Shopify app dev command again so that we can get our store up and running with the right permissions. And hopefully we will see a successful request this time. Okay, so I was still getting an error. So I went and investigated, and there was one step I forgot. This is one of those things that you do when you first set up your app and then you don't do it again, so you forget. But what you have to do after deploying those changes to our TOML file is you need to come into the partner dashboard, go into your new app, and then go to API access. And since we are requesting access to these this sensitive information, we have to go in, and there will be a form here that you have to fill out. I wish I kept it up, but it's oh, here it is. It looks just like this, and all you have to do is just fill out this top part, and it just asks like, what are you using this for? Now, after I click that and hit save, now if I go back to my app, I should finally see, if I click in product orders, a successful list showing my different orders and the number of times they were ordered. So by the way, if this is a test store and you don't have any orders, make sure you go into the orders here, click create an order, browse, and then you can select a couple products, and you can make a test order here. Cool. So now that you have some orders in your store, we can go back here to our app. We can click into this page, and voila, here it is. So this is using the Polaris component library from Shopify. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the theme extension so that we can put a widget on our product page to be able to display this information. So the first thing we're going to do is back in this Remix template, in this Remix application, we're going to create an API endpoint that we're going to hit from our extension. So to do that, I'm going to come back into our code here. And under routes, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it api.products.jsx. Okay, and then this is, again, it's a lot of code, so I have it here, and I'm going to copy and paste it in. So this isn't as much code as the previous file, but I will walk through again what exactly we're doing. It should look kind of familiar because we still have this loader function that we're calling. We're also importing this JSON from Remix node, this authenticate again from Shopify server because we have to authenticate it from this request, and then cores, which is what we use to handle across origin requests. It's just a permissions thing. It won't work unless we have this here. So in this loader function, we are getting the product ID from this URL. So this request.url, we are going to grab the product ID, which means we're going to send it when we create our extension. We're going to send that product ID along. We're going to get it here so that we can accurately query for that product specifically. Because unlike the the dash that we were just in and created that file, that's going to list all of our products. But when we're on the product page, we only want the orders for this product specifically. So that is the difference mainly here. We also think we have this thing right here, and I want to point this out because when I was developing this app, I wasted a lot of time trying to figure out why my requests were not working. I'm going to put it next to this other file where we can see, okay, so here's the admin we have here. And again, this is required so that our API can authenticate the request. I'm just going to copy it so we can look at it side by side. But if we look at this file versus the other file, you'll see we have this authenticate admin and this authenticate public. So within the app products, because that's internal to our dashboard, we want to use the admin authentication. And on this is a public-facing API for our extension. We want to authenticate.public at proxy request. So remember that. It could save you a lot of time in the future. All right, and then we have our 24 hours ago timestamp, our query, and then we return this response with the order count next to the data key. So I'm going to save this, and now we can't really do anything until we actually call this API. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a theme extension. So I'm going to come into the terminal here, and I'm going to run Shopify, and make sure you're in the correct directory, the same directory we've been working in. Generate extension, and we'll should have to answer a couple questions. So it's going to ask, which type of extension do we want? We are going to use, at the very bottom, there should be theme app extension right here. We'll select that. I'm going to call it popular products orders. Cool. And now we're going to run Shopify app dev again. And then we should be able to see this. Okay, and it looks like I found a slight error from my code. I'm going to update this, so hopefully this shouldn't be a problem for you in the GitHub link. But I was importing cores from Remix utils, but it looks like I'm in this particular project, I'm using a newer version of this package, and it's from /cores. So I'm just going to remove that. And then after restarting my terminal, everything is looking good. So now we can continue with editing our extension. So keep in mind here, the extensions are what will display in the actual user interface on the public-facing site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this extensions folder here, and we can see it right here. And then I'm going to go to blocks, and we can see that there's a file already here. This is like their starter example, star rating. And you can see, if you're familiar with theme dev at all, it should look very familiar because this is a liquid file. It has a schema, and then it has regular liquid tags and our Shopify objects. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this file because I'm not going to use it. And instead, I'm going to create my own file. Okay, now I'm going to call this file, oops, if I get back in the right directory, blocks here, I'm going to call it product popup.liquid, and you can call it whatever you'd like. And all right, so I'm going to start out, and this is going to be a pretty simple file. I'm going to just do a div. I'm going to give a style of a min height so that when we insert our JavaScript, when we get our data, it doesn't move the page, make it jump. So I'm going to reserve some space here. I'm just going to say min height 24 pixels. All right, and then I'm going to add a p tag here with an ID of order info. And this is what I'm actually going to insert our dynamic data into. So now I'm going to add a script tag here, and I'm going to add an event listener. Okay, we're going to come back and fill this app URL out in just a minute because we need to create an app proxy, which is what we will do in the next step. But I'll fill out the rest of the data here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a post request, or sorry, a get request to this endpoint. And so I'm going to say fetch app URL. And then as a promise, I'm going to get that response. Check if that response is valid. If not, And the important part in this line is that we are checking if if this product has more than 0 orders, because if it has 0 orders, we don't want to say this has 0 orders in the last 24 hours because that would not look good. So we're going to check that there's more than 0, but you could set this threshold to whatever you want. Maybe you don't want it to show unless there's more than 5 or something like that. All right, and then we're going to get, assuming that this is all correct, we are going to get the HTML that we want to return here. Result.data. So the data is going to have the attribute that has the actual number of orders. So we're doing some string interpolation here, and we're going to insert that into this sentence. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the order info p tag up there, and we're going to add our HTML like so. Okay, so this looks pretty good except for this app URL part. So how do we fix this? Well, what we're going to do is we are going to come into the Shopify partner dashboard, and we are going to go to our configuration for this app. And we're going to scroll down until we find this app proxy, and we're going to set it up. So we're going to leave it on apps, and then this subpath, I'm just going to call it popular product. And then I'm going to come to my TOML file here, back to this, where we have our URL. I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. And let's save that. Okay, cool. So now that we have this, we can make our app URL, that our endpoint that we're trying to hit. So if I come back to our API.products file, or excuse me, our product pop-up file, we are going to make this into our correct app proxy. So it should be /apps. And then if you named it the same as mine, it should be products, popular products. Did I do just one, no S, product, /API /products. So this API, so this is just the name of basically the app that we're hitting, right? The apps, this app. And then this API products needs to map up exactly to this file name. And then lastly, we're just going to throw in this additional info here so we can get the product.id within within the request. So if we save this and check our terminal, okay, everything still looks good here. So now what I'm going to do is go to my online store, and I am going to create a test name for this. And then I'm just going to give it a name, something I can differentiate. And now I'm going to come into customize, and then I'm going to go to the product page. And now if I come over to this product information, I should be able to add a block and come over to the apps part. And I don't see it here, so maybe I need to deploy this. Let me check. And I forgot one of the most important parts at the very bottom of this product pop-up liquid file. We need to give it a schema so that we actually know what the name of this is within the name of this block when we're in the customizer. And we'll just set that to an empty array for now. Okay, so I had a couple of issues when I was trying to add this via the customizer. I skipped a few things. First of all, this needs to be end schema down here at the bottom. And then I need to redeploy this app. So what I did is I came up and I ran Shopify app deploy. And then that was able to deploy this extension so that it was available on the store. Then I just restarted with started the server. And now if I come back, I should be able to come to the product template, go to the apps, and there it is, popular product orders. And I can drag it up to where I'm going to want it, which is going to be right below the title, I think would be a good place. Now notice that there is nothing there. It's just this box. Now that's expected because remember, we're dynamically inserting this via JavaScript, and JavaScript, to my knowledge, does not run on this customizer, at least not very frequently. So what we need to do is we need to save this and then come over here and preview this. And I'm going to open up my inspector and look at the network tab. And I'm going to try and see if this request goes through successfully. So I'm going to click on a product that I know has an order. And then we should see it come through here. So I don't see it here. And it looks like I have some errors going on. So let me investigate this real quick. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what went wrong, but what I was able to do was I went in and just updated this subpath name here. I copied it, also updated this proxy URL, which I got from the toml file here. And then I went back in here and I just copy and paste. I must have had a typo or something, pasted this in here and saved that. And then I was able to get it working as expected. So you can see 3 orders since yesterday. And if we look at the request here, we can see we're passing that product ID successfully, and then we get the data that we are looking for. So if we click on any of these products that have any orders, we will see that show accordingly. So obviously this is bare bones, and there's a lot to improve here in the UI and both the theme extension, but also in the admin as well. Give more functionality, give some more data, that sort of thing. But I hope this has been a good introduction of how you can get started with a Shopify app and a theme extension. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and stay tuned for more Shopify related content, and I'll see you next time.